Do you pay much attention to the BCS ratings now that they're out?
Not really. Again, it's not as much attention as getting ready to play this week, and all that matters is that you play well and win this week, and take each week as it comes and work your way through it. History has proven itself that's a very volatile lineup in there that everyone still has to negotiate the season. So and it's not like there's only a couple games left. There's a bunch of games left.
Switzer always said he didn't want to play up because Oklahoma is going to be taken care of because of the name. One of the things that Barry said. Do you feel the same way?
No, well, the landscape has changed. I think anymore, and I'm sure Coach would agree. Things are just so much different now than they were then, and the strength of schedule. And I see the arguments anymore, and of first of all your strength of schedule in non-conference, and and rewarding people who are playing tougher schedules as to not, or even in conference. Some conferences are more difficult to travel through and play championship games than other conferences. So being that it'll never be, and I'm not complaining about any of it, being that it's never going to be totally equal is, to me, a fair argument for the playoff, for a playoff. And so in those type of cases, you still have the opportunity to compete for it.
Bob, you run the no huddle. It's been good to you, but what's the downside? Is there a downside to running the no huddle?
I don't believe there is. Well, the only possibilities is if you're not efficient and you're not scoring, then the downside is you're not only are you not you're not using clock or scoring. The only issue could be that again that your defense, you're giving the other team too many opportunities, and so to me it would be if your defense is having problems with it.
In terms of being on the field, the way the offense runs, there's no downside. You don't give up anything.
I don't know what it'd be. Last week's game, our time of possession, I think we had it 6 more minutes than they did, and snapped it 97 times. So, from game to game, you might find an issue, but for the most part, I feel it's been.
I don't know that it would come up that you might have an opponent where you'd say, we don't have an offensive advantage here, we have a defensive advantage. But if you did, would you scratch the no huddle for a game? Would you slow it down?
If I felt the need to.
Would that be the criteria? Our advantage is defensive here.
Probably not. I'd feel we still should do well defensively regardless of what they're doing, if I felt I had the advantage there.
Why didn't more people run it? Or why didn't everybody run it if there's no downside?
You'd have to ask them.
Why didn't you run it last year?
Didn't felt the need to. I felt the way we played, and for a good number of years was highly productive. We won championships, and for the most part, in the end, I thought we played well as a team together. But I felt I need to go into why we did it again for about the 6th time this year. I felt one reason to do it is the emergence and the strengths of Sam Bradford, his poise, and his intelligence and accuracy and efficiency. 2, I felt I didn't want anybody to have more snaps than we did. I like the fact that if we snap the ball as much as anybody else, that we're gonna we have a chance to be on top. 3rd, I felt that it would defensively it would help us continue to improve defensively in dealing with it, whether it's our communication, whether it's our comfort level with it, and having played it all against it all spring, all summer, I felt did give our defense much more comfort when we are in those situations.
No one in the NFL that I know of runs it.
Indianapolis does.
And they used to.
Well,
I mean, I don't mean Indianapolis, but it used to be more common than it is now. Why do you think it fell out of favor, and what could cause it to fall out of favor in college?
If you're not productive, if we're up at the line and having all kind of communication problems, if we're having all kind of procedures, if the quarterback gets up there and he's hurrying and just because we're snapping the ball fast, he doesn't get himself poised and ready to execute the play. If you're not moving the football, you at least better be using some time, and so. Or if you're turning it over for whatever reasons, whether it's because you're exhausted or your guys aren't in shape and can't handle it, those would all be decent reasons not to do it. To me, it gets down to productivity. If it's not productive, I wouldn't do it either.
What's your thoughts about the national media talking about Bradford as a top 2 or 3 Heisman candidate?
Well, I would seem that's I would, I guess, expect that, or that's not the right way that sounds, but I don't know how you could not. I mean, the guy has just been so productive, and I know it's what are you doing now, but he did it a year ago as a freshman, and you look at his numbers compared to everybody else who was in that category, his were every bit as good or better than some. And this year they are as well, and so he just continues to be so consistent and so efficient, but making the big plays and making tough plays when they're there as well. And those other guys are awfully good as well. So I think as much as anything, he's should be considered with all those guys. And then it gets down to, there's so many more games who continues to play well.
Did you see last year, or when he first got here, that he was going to be special? Was it when he got into game situations?
Yeah, that's the only time you could truly tell is when you started seeing him early on in some of our early games. Just how what a good football he throws, how accurate he is, and again the poise of a young guy who's a redshirt freshman in there for the first time. And it's just amazing that he's as calm and at least he comes across that way and confident as any guy you'd want to be around. And then you put that with how genuinely, and to me, I always think this really helps a player. It really does. I think in the long run, it's just how humble he is and that respectful if he understands the guys around him are making him or helping him, not making them, but are really a big part of it, and that he doesn't, it isn't about him. And so that helps the guy in his, I think, in that kind of a pressure situation as a quarterback.
If Al doesn't mind, I'd like to get a question.
Go ahead, Dean.
I was going to say this is Al's press conference.
Matt Clapp was here earlier. Can you talk a little bit about Matt?
Yeah, he has been fabulous. Matt is such a big part of our team that, again, at unheralded position, that fullback position, but as you look at him, he's a great athlete for a fullback. He's got size, he's got range, he's fast, he's strong. He's physical. He blocks well. He can run. You see him run. He runs with the football. He's very efficient and good with it. He catches well out of the backfield, and he's on virtually every single one of our special teams. He is. So he does so many things for us that maybe that don't necessarily aren't out there for TV shots, but he really makes so many things go and work.
Talk about the running game. It looked much better last week.
Well, it was, just overall, I thought, execution and blocking and all was better, definitely, and I thought our backs, there's more space for them to run hard in and to create some extra yards on their own, as well as, hit it in a physical way and get the most of what was there. And I just thought overall it was pretty solid.
Is that the ideal balance you're looking for in the way you guys execute?
Yeah, 670 yards or whatever it was, but
with passing and running the ball.
Yeah, you just want to be effective. I'm not worried about what the total yards are. To me, it has to be, and I think that's where sometimes people miss it. Is that even if our yards aren't 200, if we're in there in the 100 and something, and they've had to deal with it, and we throw for 400 and some because of how they're dealing. If you're dealing with the run game, usually you'll have more seams out there to throw the football in. And as I said before, it isn't like it's a shot in the dark for us when we're throwing it. If they're having to defend the run, it opens up opportunities throwing it. And that's happened for us. Even in some situations where we haven't had the big numbers rushing, we've had it other ways.
Everyone talks about Nick Harris at linebacker. How about the play of the safeties without him back there?
They did an excellent job. Lendy Holmes, of course, was one of our players of the game and had a great day. With 2 interceptions, and Quentin Carter led the team in tackles, and I don't know that had a negative play in there. He didn't. He played very solid, and that's encouraging in that he has come on and really showing signs in practice, and he showed it in a full game that, hey, I'm ready to play.